Hello and welcome to this video. I am in Kilfane Church today because I want to show you what drawbar slots are in case you don't know and how to map them. It is very interesting from a perspective of what is called access archaeology, where people look at how accessible a castle or a church is and how defendable. And to map the drawbar slots will make it interesting to analyze that data from all the different churches and tower houses. The way they worked is you're in your church, you have marauding hordes outside, and you want to be safe from them. So you go inside, you close your door. There aren't any doors left here, so just pretend I'm closing the door. Now you can't see me anymore. And then you have your drawbar slot here. So this is the resting bit. We didn't bring a drawbar, I just brought a stick. So it's resting in there, and you want to lock it from the inside. So you draw it out, hence the name drawbar, and you rest it in there. This doesn't need to go in very far. And then they can bang against the door as much as they want and they won't be able to come in. This one also has another little thing here, but they must have had a little latch here. And the great thing about Kilfane Church is that most of the doors, there are loads of doors, have drawbar slots, and they even have hanging eyes where the doors were hanging from. This doorway doesn't have one, unfortunately. I will show you another one that has one later. I think the first time when I really noticed drawbar slots is after reading this PhD thesis. Well, I don't think I actually read the whole thing, but I started reading this during lockdown. It's by John McCarthy, who, as far as I know now, is an underwater archaeologist in Australia. But he looked at the tower houses of southeast Kilkenny, as you can see in the title. And he looked at all kinds of defensive structures that you can have in a tower house, because a tower house is obviously built for defense, because it's a castle. And the drawbars are only one part of it. It's also about where the doors are and where the door faces and all these kinds of things. But you can read that for yourself. It's very interesting. And he uses these schematic drawings in it, which is grand and it's lovely to look at. But if you wanted to analyze it in a GIS perspective, it would be much more interesting to have that data on a map, because then you can look at elevations as well, which he did as well. You can look at elevations and you can look at the view shed of the doors, which again he also did. But I think it's much easier, or maybe more interesting, doing that from map data. And if we add the drawbar slots as a starting point to the doors in tower houses, but also churches. And also I found out some townhouses have them as well. Rothe House, for example, in Kilkenny has or had a drawbar at the back door. And now there are only the drawbar slots left, of course. But their door went out into the garden, and at the end of the garden was the city wall. So if anyone had scaled the city wall, there wasn't really much to stop them from just wandering to the garden and just breaking into the back of the house. And of course the Rothe family didn't want that, so they had a drawbar there. And I'm trying to find out if there were other houses in Kilkenny that had that. But quite a few of the country churches had them. I've looked at a couple of them, and I'll put an Overpass Turbo link in the description so you can run that and look for drawbar slots. I will also mark that if I've checked a site and it doesn't have a drawbar slot, I will also mark that with drawbar slot no. You could add that to every door, obviously, but it's only meant to be used on medieval to early modern doors. So please bear that in mind. Just to make sure that I have checked them, like the Round Tower in Kilkenny. I've checked that one, it doesn't have one, so I put drawbar slot no on it. Anyway, so this is the PhD thesis, which I recommend reading, and there's probably other stuff below there that we won't even go into that is related to that topic, and it'll be interesting. It's called Castles in Space, an exploration of the space in and around the tower houses of southeast Kilkenny by John McCarthy. So this is the one that I think started it all off for me anyway. And I will go around now in Kilfane Church and map the drawbar slots in the entrances. There are quite a few entrances. Some of them I had already mapped before I went there, the day I did the survey. But I've added a couple more, and I used EveryDoor for it. I have to cut them some slack. They are actually quite good for mapping entrances, and adding custom fields to the entrances that nobody else might have thought of before. Like I did with the boot scrapers in the previous video, I didn't use EveryDoor then, but whenever I see them now, I use it. And this one was also a custom tag that I could add easily with EveryDoor. The only problem was, the big advantage of EveryDoor is that it snaps the doors or the entrances to the wall, which is great if that's where they are. But this here, for example, this little entrance, there's a mural staircase. So it's a staircase within the walls, very, very thick walls. And there is an entrance from within the church into the mural staircase, and that leads up to a little bell tower. And even that door, even though it's not leading to the outside, even that had a drawbar and drawbar slots. So I added this entrance and it snapped it onto this wall there, and I had to go and fix that and add a building part here, which is the mural staircase, and add the entrance there. Anyway, it won't happen an awful lot of times. Even though if you do it with tower houses, there's going to be lots of mural staircases, because that's where the staircases usually went, where they were within the walls, because that made it safer. It also meant that they were very, very narrow, so only one person could go up and down, which is also one of the defensive structures. Anyway, long story short, let's get into EveryDoor, and I'll show you how I added the information about the drawbar slots. The first thing you might have to do is change into the building mode by clicking on the little house, and then to add an entrance you click on the little blue door, well, white door on blue, and it opens the menu, and you can tick that it's not wheelchair accessible. And to open the custom tags, click on the top right little table, and you can add your first tag, key and value. So drawbar underscore slot is the one that I'm introducing here. This one doesn't have a drawbar slot, so I put in no. And then I walk to the next entrance. You can see the blue dot, that's me walking along there. And I click on that one and do the same thing again, only this time I add drawbar underscore slot. Yes. Then I add another tag for the level, just add a tag. And then key level and value is 0 because it's the ground level. It'll probably be 0 for most of the churches. And then you have to save your edits. I go to the next entrance. This one wasn't mapped yet. So you click on the little white door again and go to the same procedure basically. Wheelchair no. Add your custom tag drawbar underscore slot. It actually had 2 on either side, but we won't take it too far. And then the level is 0 again. The levels are really only probably interesting for the tower houses where you might have them at the first floor level as well. Save again. And then to upload, click the arrow up button to upload. And that's everything. And when I had finished my photogrammetry, which I will show you in a minute, I decided to also add the width of the doorways because the drawbar slots were a lot deeper than the width of the door made it necessary. And because you stuck around for this long, I'll show you another picture of a hanging eye in this door. This is not the door we shot the first one in. There we have the hanging eye. That's where you stuck in the axle for the door. And then this one also, if my lovely assistant can show that, has the spud stone. That's where it went into the floor, basically the ground. And then you have the door swinging on that axle. Close it. This one doesn't have, not anymore, maybe it's blocked up, a drawbar slot. There's something here, you can see something here. So there might have been something going in here. But there is not anything on this side, so I will not map this as a drawbar slot, neither of them. And now for the 3D models as promised. In my Sketchfab account, which you will find under sketchfab.com/b-unicycling/collections, I will also put a link in the description of this video, I made a collection which is kind of like a folder of all kinds of stuff, and there's one just for drawbar slots. And there are 5 in there, and I have the Kilfane ones here. The first one in the north entrance didn't really come out as nicely as I had hoped because I didn't take enough photographs. But I still learn. So this one, that's the one in the northern entrance, the resting drawbar slot where it rests when it's not being used to lock the door. So you see there's a nest in there that a bird has built, and I didn't take enough pictures of the top, that's why that looks not so great. And it's 111 centimeters or 1.11 meters deep, which didn't come out as well. It was difficult to even push the stick and the measuring tape all the way through, which would have been probably back here somewhere. And you can't take pictures that deep into a drawbar slot unless you have a GoPro or something on a selfie stick, which I don't have yet. We'll see. So that's one of them, and I only did the 2 drawbar slots, the northern one and the southern one. Doesn't have a preview yet. So this is the one that we shot the intro at. See it here? That's the one that's 117 centimeters or 1.17 meters long, deep. And there's the latch, and I put an annotation there. And it only goes this far in. I'm not sure what this is about here. Oop. This hole here, if there's just a stone just fell out or something. Or if it is something. They kept the key. I don't know. People keep the key next to the door. So that's that. I hope you found that interesting, as usual, and enlightening and inspiring. And even if you decide not to map those drawbar slots, it's something to look out for in the future when you're visiting castles, tower houses, and churches as well in Ireland. And of course, they have them in other countries as well. There are some churches in England where the drawbar is still intact, and I'm sure there are some in Ireland as well. I just haven't come across any because I've only been going into ruins and also the churches in Kilkenny, which don't have them anymore, as far as I could ascertain. So, Gora Mila Mahagov for watching this video, and take care and slán go fóill.